Hey guys, it's Stacy here. Welcome back to my channel, Life's a Project. So it's a beautiful fall day, a little windy, but I'm at my local Lowe's store because I want to pick up some potting mix to plant my spring bulbs in containers. So I'm gonna go in here and get some to get this project started. So I'm all set up and ready to go, and I have my bulbs here that I ordered from longfieldgardens.com, and ordering them online, they ship them out when it's time to plant them out in your area. And here in Kentucky, Zone 6, I like to plant mine in and around the month of October, and you can even plant them into November. Now, I have ordered from them before and I loved them. They performed so well for me a couple of years ago when I placed an order ordering tulips and muscari, and I actually did a video on that, planting them up in these exact two containers that I found at Lowe's, and it actually bloomed for me beautifully. And I actually did an update video sharing with you what they looked like blooming out, and you can go back and check out those full length videos on my YouTube channel. And guys, in my opinion, these containers have done great for the money, and I did see today when I was picking up the potting mix that they are still available at Lowe's. So if you're in the market for a couple of good containers, these have done great for me over the past couple of years. So now the fun part is getting into the box. Now I actually ordered 5 different types of bulbs, 2 tulips, 2 daffodils, and an allium. Now the first tulip here is called Happy Generation. It is a white and red tulip. It blooms mid-spring. I got a 20 count of those, and it grows 18 inches tall. Now the next tulip is called Artist. It is a peach and orange tulip. It blooms also mid-spring, but only gets to 12 to 14 inches tall, and I got a 10 count of those. Next are the daffodils. These are a double daffodil called Cheerfulness, a beautiful white and yellow daffodil. It blooms mid-spring as well, and it gets 16 inches tall, and I got a 10 count of those. Now the next daffodil is called Red Devon, and it is a yellow and orange daffodil. It actually blooms early to mid-spring and is also 16 inches tall, and I got a 10 count of those. Now last is the allium called Purple Sensation. It is a smaller allium, and these I wanted to have a lot in here to look really fun and whimsical, and I actually ordered 2 packs. They each have 10 in a pack because I want to put one whole pack of 10 in each container, and these are really fun. They get 30 inches tall. And these allium, they bloom late spring, so it's a good idea to get a mix of early, mid, and late spring blooms so you have the longest bloom time possible. And the whole idea is to separate these bulbs and put an equal amount in each container. So I think I have 70 bulbs total, so I'll put 35 in each container. So starting off, you want to choose a container that has drainage holes in the bottom because you don't want your bulbs to rot. When these bulbs are in here throughout the rest of the fall, the winter, and waiting to bloom in the spring, you'll get things like rain and snow, and you don't want the soil to be too moist or you'll rot your bulbs. And then next, you want to think about what you're planting and how deep they like to be planted. So both the Tulips and the daffodils like to be buried at 6 inches deep, while the allium 5 inches deep. Now I could get really technical, but I'm just going to go and say I'm going to plant these at a depth about 5 to 6 inches deep, and they should be just fine. And so I just put enough potting mix in the bottom so that after placing my bulbs in one even layer and cover them with 5 to 6 inches of potting mix, that I have about an inch or so lip from the top of the container. So I'm going to start with the tulip bulbs first, and in this container I'll have 15 tulips total. So I want to try to equally space them apart as much as possible. Now with tulips or most bulbs, you'll have a pointy end, and that needs to be planted facing up. And then you'll have a root end that needs to be facing down into the potting mix. So the look that I'm going for in this container is just to look like a beautiful bouquet or beautiful arrangement, a beautiful mix of daffodils, tulips, and allium with beautiful colors. And I want to make sure, like I said, to space them apart so that I don't have all of my tulips to one side and my daffodils to the other, so that they're all mixed together. Now when it comes to spacing, in containers you can really place your bulbs really close together like I'm doing here if you really want a big beautiful show come springtime. But if you want to plant them in the landscape, you can actually just place them a few inches apart, and that way that if they multiply and come back for you the following year, they have their room to grow. So now I'm placing my daffodil bulbs in this container. So once again, the pointy side is up, root side down into the potting mix. Now I have found that daffodils are more reliable to come back the following year. So once these are done in this container, come spring, and they are done and have died back, you can dig these up and then place them out into your landscape if you would like, and see if they come back for you the following spring. The same thing with the tulips, but I have found that some varieties of tulips do not come back for you the following year. So many times you may find that people treat their tulip bulbs as annuals, just enjoying them that one season, but you have nothing to lose. You already paid for them. So again, at the end of the season, take them, plant them out into your flower beds, and see if they come back for you the following year. So now it's on to the allium. I want to use the whole bag of 10 in this one container. Now these you can clearly see a root end, but not so much a pointy end to face up. So you get the idea, just put the root end down into the potting mix. And again, I'm going to evenly space these around in this container, so when they bloom out, they will look even in this container. So now all the bulbs are in. So now again, just adding my potting mix to the top, adding about 5 to 6 inches on top of the bulbs, and leaving myself about an inch or so at the top of the container. You don't want to add your potting mix all the way to the very tip top of your container, because if it rains, you're trying to water it in, the water's just going to run over the side, making a mess. So now I'm going to plant up container number 2 the exact same way. I think it's really nice to have 2 containers the same to make a beautiful kind of a symmetrical look. I'm just going to water them in using my watering can. You want to make sure that you water everything in so it settles that potting mix around the bulbs. Now, here in Kentucky, we get an adequate amount of moisture in the form of either rain or during the winter in the form of snow to keep these containers happy. Now, if I was to have a really long stretch without any type of moisture and the containers look like they were getting on the dry side, I can give them some water, but I really don't like to keep my containers too moist and have, you know, the possibility of my bulbs rotting. Then I won't get any type of flowers in the spring if that happens. And now I place them here in my front landscaped area, here at the front of my house where they're nice and protected and out of the way, instead of having them in my yard somewhere in the grass making a dead grass ring. And so here on the rock mulch, they will have good drainage, and when I'm ready to kind of place them in other locations early spring, I can do that and just place them where I want them, where I think they'll look nice. So guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I hope you will subscribe to my channel. Get out and plant some bulbs for spring, because it's going to be so exciting when they bloom and you see that beautiful spring color. It really gets you in the mood to start gardening once again next year when things are blooming, when other things are not yet in bloom. So guys, that's it, and I'll see you later. Bye.